Hi, welcome to the Stitch TV show. I'm Lynn.
And I'm Pam. We're happy you're joining us today, here live from Red Hen Stitch Shop in Marietta, Georgia. The Stitch is an online quilt talk show, the perfect soundtrack for your sewing room. Join us for twice monthly talk shows, virtual stitch-ins, celebrity interviews, podcasts, book clubs, probably even more. You can learn more at thestitchtvshow.com.
Our show today is brought to you by the Stitch TV show shop. Visit it for patterns, show merchandise, and more at shop.thestitchtvshow.com. Today we're going to be having a round of Never Have I Ever and taking some questions from viewers. We're joined by our newest pattern, Little Pink Houses, a modern jelly roll friendly log cabin pattern. You can find it and more at shop.thestitchtvshow.com.
So, here we are, episode 402. We just filmed episode 401 minutes ago. So what's been happening in the meantime, Lynn?
So much.
So much
stuff. Did you see, like, on NBC this past month, they have been doing a new show called Making It.
Yes.
Have you seen that?
Yes, I have seen the first episode.
And they referred to quilts in it.
They did.
Yeah. You watched it. So.
I watched it. I like the focus on makers. I will say it was slightly disheartening that so many of the crafters they had were doing it in a professional manner. And I think when the quilting and other making crafting communities were excited about it, it was like, oh, our people. And I'm like, oh, those are our professional people.
Yeah, they had all these professionals.
Like, oh. And then I looked at that and I thought, gosh, I don't know if I could be on that show.
Well, okay, so when I was watching the show, like, the hosts were very impressed about this guy was able to thread a needle and tie a knot while talking to somebody. And so I thought we could test each other to see if we could be on the show. So here's thread. Here's a needle. And see, because I think if we could do this, it would mean that we were qualified to be on this
talking,
show.
By the way.
Well,
I
should
did
be talking.
Well, let me unthread it and try it again.
Wait, you got to tie a knot too.
Oh, I got to tie a knot? Are we doing the spit knot, the whatever knot?
Whatever knot works for you. See, I think we could impress Amy and Nick. Not thread done. So, like, we could totally be on the show now.
Ta-da.
Ta-da. Did you see that part, though? They were like, oh, they threaded a needle. And I was like, really?
Really? I mean,
seriously?
They threaded the needle on the sewing machine while it was running. That's impressive.
Well, yeah.
There you go. That's after coffee for sure.
So I liked that they referred to quilts, and I liked that they had people make a quilt inspired thing.
Yes.
But I was kind of like, the only reason you're having them do that because none of you can make quilts.
Well, or because to make a quilt you can't do it in
3 hours.
3 hours.
Yeah.
But like piece the top. You could piece the top in 3 hours. Very simple.
Right.
But yeah, you can't quilt it.
So I thought, I don't know. I was kind of like, okay, this is a great thing. They're referring to quilts. Yay, us quilting. But then I was like, but you're not making a quilt. You're not showing how difficult this really is.
No, well, they're honestly honoring the legacy that comes with. I guess. Because a lot of the people reference like, oh, I've got a quilt. My grandmother, my aunt.
And I did think that was interesting that it was their first point of reference. Well, everybody knows what a quilt is.
Yeah.
Everybody has this connection to them, but doesn't know how to make. I don't know. I was kind of disappointed. I'm like, no, that's not how you make them. I don't know. I liked some of the inspirations, though. There was some woodworking stuff that was incredible.
Like, my 8th grade Excellence Award in shop class is not going to get me to make that crazy thing. I was like,
yeah, that was great.
That is legit.
Yeah. And some of the ideas and stuff were good. But
so.
I was like, I don't know. So we'll see next episode.
Yeah, it's only 6 episodes total. So it's like a little short summer series. But I like the spirit behind. I like that everyone was helpful and like pitching in with each other.
Yes.
I like that it's got the spirit of Great British Bake Off, which I just call Nice People and Carbs.
Yes.
So I like that part, that it's a friendly competition. It's not a...
Right. I guess to balance it out, there was no cutthroat, which I appreciate because I don't like that in the maker world. But so then after that, I went and watched a couple episodes of Nailed It on
Yes.
Netflix and thought, well, that balances it out.
Yep.
I did feel sorry for those. Like, oh my gosh. So
But
anyway.
they tried.
So the test, we both could do it. We could be on that show making
could.
it. Except for, like, I don't know how to do woodwork. So I'd be lost
I can
there.
wing it.
I could pretend.
Safety first.
Cut that. What's a saw?
All right.
All right.
Never have I ever.
Never have I ever.
So, I thought this was going to be a drinking game. But it's, 11 in the morning. Apparently that's not appropriate.
All right. So these are questions
Mhm.
that our viewers sent in on Never Have I Ever.
Okay.
So we're going to draw them. This is just kind of a statement. This is from Alexandra Wellington McKinnon.
Maybe just read the first name.
Okay, Alexandra.
We can edit that out.
Yeah, right. Like we edit.
That'll quilt out.
So she said, to play Never Have I Ever, instead of taking a drink, you should take ugly fabric and have it to make a project with them all at the end. I'm like, that sounds way too complicated.
That would be a 4-hour
So we're not
episode.
doing that. And Daniel said, no fabric is ugly, it's just visually challenged. So I thought that was funny.
I have not.
You have not.
Okay.
All right, so here's the first legit one.
Okay.
Never have I ever sewn through a body part.
A thumbnail.
A finger. In Judy Madsen's class.
Okay. I got the next one.
Okay.
Never have I ever had a paranormal experience. I'm a little too literal. Do we now have to talk about what yours was?
No.
We just
That I
gonna
have, really.
lay it out
Yeah.
there, walk away, don't make eye contact.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Done.
Totally have. Gotten stitches. Never have I ever gotten stitches.
Oh, I guess 2 C-sections. I had staples. I think that counts.
A Achilles tendon. It was bad.
Never have I ever made a quilt for someone and then fell in love with it and kept it for myself, then made them a quickie one for them. I have not.
I didn't make one for them though. I just kept it. Totally didn't give it away. Well, they said they didn't like quilts. So I'm like, why am I going to give you a quilt then? So I just kept it. I gave it to someone else. Does that count?
No.
Okay.
Okay, never have I ever refused a free machine. I have.
I have never. No, if somebody's going to give me a machine, I usually take it.
I accepted it for a brief few hours into my basement before I handed it off to our friend Andy at the sewing dock of like, you could probably take advantage of this.
Never have I ever tried to service my computerized machine myself.
What does service mean?
I'm assuming.
Like something, just regular maintenance, like oil the bobbin wick, or like legit go in and do a deep cleaning? Let's go with deep cleaning. I have never.
I have never.
We're getting applause from the
We're
sewing
getting-
doc.
Yeah, the sewing doc just approved of that one.
Okay. Never have I ever read a whole novel in one day. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, baby.
I do that. I actually do this probably on
Regularly.
a weekly basis.
Yes,
Yeah, I read
totally.
a book a day usually.
Okay. Next.
Never have I ever cried or flirted my way out of a speeding ticket.
I got pulled over by lady cops. It didn't work.
I totally did in college.
Was it crying or flirting?
Crying.
Also, my son was in the back when it happened.
Never have I ever. I was in college. Never have I ever been stopped by airport security because of sewing related items.
Not sewing related items, but I was stopped because of radishes.
Radishes.
Radishes. You now got to take any edibles out of your carry-on bags and have them scanned separately, like you would your laptop or your shoes.
Okay, I haven't at the airport, but I have at the county courthouse. Because I got called for jury duty, and so I brought my sewing stuff, and they're like, you can't bring this in. I'm like, I can't sew because we had to sit in this room and wait. I'm like, that's
Now I will say, you know, the giant metal shears.
yeah.
I had some in my bag. I didn't realize, like, good 6-inch blade. Made it through the Atlanta airport. They were like, they didn't notice. Newport News, Virginia was like, excuse me, ma'am. And I was like, oh my goodness. Whoops, how did that even get? So, y'all, Atlanta, step up.
Wait, did you get? What did they have you do? Mail them?
No, I just handed them back to my mom. Like, here.
Oh, okay. She was there, so that helped. Okay.
Never have I ever traveled to Australia and stayed with a crazy quilt lady and had a fantastic quilt lady. Sorry, filming in the garage converted to a quilt studio, including a long arm. Just saying it could happen. Keep hope alive. Never,
but they
Not been
want
to
us
Australia.
come, yeah, they.
I
I've
have
been
a
to
feeling-
Australia.
Alexandra would totally let us bunk.
Yes, I think so. Never have I ever did free motion on any quilt bigger than a wall hanging. Too scared to try. Oh, I have.
King size on a 1997 Singer that I got,
Wow.
or no, 1992 Singer for high school graduation. I made my parents a king size quilt.
That's cool. I've done it on both domestic and long arm. So, oh, I'm cheating. I'm doing twice. Never have I ever been in an embarrassing video that was uploaded to YouTube.
Have you seen our show? Have you seen our show?
Like, seriously. We-
Okay. Never have I ever spent a whole day in my pajamas watching quilting related YouTubes. I have not.
I don't think I have either. Not my pajamas.
No.
Like, I can watch all
Some
day.
yoga pants.
Yeah.
So a nice soft pant. Yes. Pajamas. No.
No. No, not pajamas.
I'm doing 2 in a row.
Okay.
Never have I ever bought fabric I love only to discover I only had some of it at home in my stash. I have a much smaller stash than Lynn. It's easier to keep track of because it's in one place. It's in a
Dude,
single room.
Let's be honest. I did this last week.
She has a wing of the house. Okay, now you.
Never have I ever cried in public because of a song.
Girl,
Come
I am
on.
known at the Publix for just weeping through the produce aisle. It's fine.
Song, movie, commercial.
Audiobook,
Oh,
the end of The
gosh.
Martian,
So
and I'm
last-
hitting the lettuce.
Seriously. Last
Spoiler
night,
alert.
I'm in the sewing room. I'm in the sewing room last night and I'm sewing and I'm listening to an audiobook and it's right at the end and I'm like, I'm gonna cry. I say this out loud. I'm gonna cry. My husband, who's across the way, comes into my sewing room going, are you okay? I'm like, I'm at the end of this book. But he was concerned. I mean, that was good. Just because I announced, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, my husband's used to it.
Yeah,
Drop of a hat. Here comes a waterworks.
yeah, I'm bad.
All right. Never have I ever started something and not finished it. Once. I did it once.
You finished it now, though. So it doesn't count. You've always finished what you've done.
Oh, there is one
You've
top
got one
that I put
UFO?
together that I was like, I hate this, and I threw it away.
Oh, okay. That counts. Never have I ever done a wavy border on a quilt top. Please. Oh, yeah.
You can't tell, so I'm gonna go with I have not.
Are you serious? Oh, one of the first quilts I did, the long armor called me and said, "This is so wavy. I'm taking the borders off for you and re-putting them on." I'm like, okay. And then when I went and got the quilt, she handed me like this much fabric. It was kind of sad. Like, so there you go.
Never have I ever had a surprise party thrown for me.
Aw, no one's ever thrown you a surprise
You
party?
probably know I don't like surprises.
Oh, I have.
P.S. Don't throw me a surprise party.
I'm not going to. I did, and someone threw me a birthday party, and the theme was orange. So when I walked in, all the people were wearing orange. It was fun. Because I was like, why does everybody have orange on?
I'm cool with like nice surprises. My kids went through a phase where
It's
they're
a
like
birthday
jumping out
party.
at people,
Oh,
you know,
I'm
around
not
the
good at
corner,
that.
and they learned quickly that I punch when I'm scared. So they don't do that anymore to me.
I scream. Like, I scream. I've screamed so loud it
Oh,
scared
yeah.
the people surprising me. Look. Anyway, all right, my turn.
Yeah.
Never have I ever refused an offer of fabric. I have.
I have.
Why did you refuse it?
Well, think about like guild tables. There's freebie stuff.
Oh, yeah.
There are, O&D stashing. I'm like, good, thank you.
Or you get the phone call from somebody who's, oh, my grandmother passed and she's got all this fabric, and then it's not usable, or it's not.
Well, it's not appropriate for the type of quilts I make or the type of project.
So I'm like,
good.
Goodwill.
All right.
Or
So
the last one.
never have I ever accidentally said I love you to someone.
Totally, yeah.
I've had it said to me too.
It really?
Oh yeah. A couple jobs ago, I was really good friends with a guy in the office, and I called him my work husband, and my husband was totally fine with it. And I was talking to him about something business related, and we go to get off the phone. He's like, "I love you." It's just like, really? He's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." I'm like, all right.
Okay, I was the person who said I love you. I was traveling. I was talking to my boss, who I'd never met live and in person because we were distant. He was my boss and he lived in another city. And I had just gotten off the phone with Mike, my husband, or he was, beeping in. So I knew I had to get off the phone with my boss. I was trying to get off fast. I was like, okay, love you, bye. And I was like, I hung up. And then I got on the phone with Mike. I'm like, oh my God, I just told my boss I loved him. Because I was out of town. So yeah, I totally have done that.
Oops.
Mike's okay. We're okay. Everything's good.
You didn't marry your boss?
No.
Good?
No.
Good. Well, we're going to take a quick break so you guys can see a closer look at Little Pink Houses, and we will be right back. All right, we're back. We are now going to take questions about potentially anything.
Okay, these were all submitted by viewers.
Cool.
So I didn't allow Pam to look at them, or she promised she didn't.
I did not. I might have accidentally seen that post scroll by and was like, keep moving.
Right. So I collected them all. But I think we can answer both of them. And then the shop, Andy from the shop here, she actually had some of her customers put in questions too. So I don't know what we're going to get asked. So Robin asks, she's very interested in adding a machine embroidery to her list of very expensive hobbies. To make quilt labels or embellishments, your thoughts, recommendations on what to look for in a machine.
If you have the space and the funds, yes, do it.
Yeah, I agree. I think like quilting, embroidery is definitely a skill set. And so there's a learning curve with an embroidery machine. So I would definitely buy a machine from a shop that supports embroidery, like if there's embroidery clubs or there's training, because there is a learning curve to embroidery. And if you've got that background where a shop can help you, that would be, I think, beneficial, definitely beneficial.
Yes.
So, and I love mine, but I bought a bigger machine than what I currently use because I found that I didn't want to do as big embroidery stuff as I was more interested in
monogramming.
So literally most of the stuff that I do is monograms. So I don't need as big a machine as I ended up buying.
Okay. Oh, our next one's a big old long one. Okay, so Nancy asks, when I took home ec in 1963, we squared up our cotton fabric by pulling a thread from the side, then stretching it from the opposite corners to get it straight. Doesn't anyone do this anymore, or were we just using cheap cotton in the 60s? And then there's a part 2, so we'll answer that one first.
I don't think anybody does this anymore.
Yeah.
To me, it's more for garment sewing that you would need to be able to straighten that grain up. Very important for garment sewing. But
caveat, when you buy a wide back 108 inch, that is helpful to do.
Yeah, that is.
Because that can really, over 108 inches wide, can really slant.
Yeah. You could lose a foot.
Oh yeah, I have torn off and it's gone from like 1 inch like up to 8 inches on the other side when you do that. It's like, oh goodness.
Yeah.
Okay. Part two.
Part two.
I think you and I, it says you and Pam, I'm like, me and me, discussed a little on the stitch, but why don't more people use old blankets from the thrift store as batting? Couldn't get any cheaper. Oh, and there's a third question.
I mean, if you wanted to use that as batting, I don't think there's a problem with it. It's not traditional. I just don't want. I want to know what's in mine, and to me.
Now, I have done. Sometimes at big box stores, they have sales on fleece blankets that already have like a blanket stitch on the edge, and I have used those as backing, as long as you make a top that's smaller than that, because that's hard to get it to match up exactly.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't necessarily put batting in there, but that's a good way to get a soft back. It's a little lighter weight because there's no batting in there, but I've done that, and they'll go on sale for like $9-10 here in the U.S.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
So
third question.
There's a problem with it.
Will we be doing a show from Houston in November?
I don't know. Probably not.
We're not going to have production staff with us. We'll probably do like short social snippets, like on Instagram. We might do like a tour of our booth that would go
They're
on
letting
YouTube.
us go. The production staff's letting us go by ourselves, so it's kind of scary. We'll be out on our own in the wild.
It's an entirely selfie-based production.
So, anyway. All right, this one's from the store. Golly. Is a scant 1/4 inch seem really necessary? If it is, how do you achieve it?
One thread in from a 1/4 inch exact.
Right?
Maybe 2 threads, but not more than that.
Yeah, that's a scant. That's technically what a scant 1/4 inch is.
It depends on how you press. If you are pressing your seams open, it's less important. If you're pressing to the side, it's more important, because as you press to the side, you have that fabric, you lose like that 1 thread or 2 threads width when you fold it over.
I think the easiest way to achieve this is there are tools that you can buy that you adjust your machine to show you a scant 1/4 inch. You can get them here at Red Hen. You can get them at other quilt stores around the country. I don't know the name of it, but we'll put a link of one of the tools in the show notes. But that's definitely the best way to do it.
Oh, I get all the big ones. Okay. So Deborah says, talk about starching fabrics or spray basting compared to pin basting.
Okay.
Okay, so starching fabric.
I do it when I know I need stabilization. I don't do it all the time.
Do you do starch, or do you do like best press? Do you
Best press.
make your own with vodka?
No. Best press.
I drank all the vodka. I can't do that anymore. Now I just use starch.
You could go get more vodka.
Then I drink more vodka. I don't need to drink more vodka.
Okay, so it's I see what you're saying here now. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So generally, yes, I do a lighter starch mix when I'm just generally pressing. If I'm doing applique, it's sizing.
Right.
But yes, generally I do.
I don't. I only when I need it.
Yeah. Okay.
So-
Spray
more
basting
question.
compared to pin basting. That's
I don't
from
do
Deb.
either, so it's all you.
Well, yeah, long arm. I only do spray basting on smaller projects where I know I can't fit pins, like postcards.
Oh, I do it on
Or wall
postcards.
hangings.
Yeah.
Or pillows.
Yeah.
But other times I do pin basting. I love the idea of thread basting, but I don't have the patience or the thread.
Yeah. All right. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. How do you design or change a pattern? That's a show right there. Like, that's a tough question.
Start with an idea, and then there's magic pixie dust, and then there's a quilt.
Design always starts from an idea.
Yeah.
Like some kind of
An
thing.
inspiration. For us, a lot of it is movies, music, pop culture. This funny thing popped in my head. I wonder if I could do a quilt around something
And
dumb.
really, we design stuff with the pop culture references because we like talking about it, and it makes us laugh. And so all of our designs kind of come out of that.
Like, wouldn't it be funny if I made a quilt named Steve? What does Steve look like?
Yeah. So, yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a broad question. I think as pattern designers, you start to evolve and have an actual voice or a look or
yeah.
a,
I think, yeah.
And where
Mine's a complicated voice.
Yeah, mine is like, can we make it with a jelly roll?
Mine, and I have a hard time doing that.
Yeah, I don't.
So, no.
I
she
like
doesn't.
geometric constraints.
Right. And it drives me nuts.
Yes,
So,
it does.
well,
That's
there
why
you go.
I designed this one.
There you go. It's your turn.
Oh, it's my turn? I thought I just read that one.
No.
No, never mind. Haha, Deb is back. Deb says color. I know you've covered this topic many times, but I'm not good at picking colors for a quilt. She normally uses pre-cuts.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's a great way to start.
An easy way to branch out, start with your pre-cut. Take out 3 of the fabrics. Pick 3 from a stash or a fat quarter from the quilt shop that goes with it.
That are not of that line.
That are not of that line.
Yeah.
That are, let's say pre-cuts could be batiks, could be prints. Mix it up.
Mm-hmm.
If it's prints, find a solid or a batik. If it's batiks, likewise, kind of just see, don't be afraid. And just think, well, if it's scary to put a batik in there, just make that the really small piece.
Right. Right. I think color, I really, truly, the more I work with color, I truly believe that any color can go with any other color. It's just how you put it together. So you're going to either find a bridge where those two make friends, or you're going to let them clash because that's interesting. So,
And you can always bridge that later with thread.
Exactly. And don't be scared to say background colors always have to be a neutral, as in a white, cream, black, or gray. I think background colors can be whatever color you want it to be. So I think that's exciting. My turn?
Yes.
Okay. Agnes asks, now that you have that lovely new camera, how about showing us the stitch you use to hand piece? And we don't have that lovely new camera with us on a live shoot, but we will put that in our list of things that we need to do.
Ta-da.
Yeah.
Okay, this is from the shop. So, if you could only choose one quilting tool to use besides a sewing machine, fabric, and thread, what would it be? A ruler and a rotary cutter. I chose 2.
I'm with you. It's a ruler and a rotary cutter, like that.
But, okay, let's assume that that's in there. What else beyond that?
A ruler, cutting table,
Seam ripper.
seam ripper.
If you see a seam ripper, now is not a good time.
That's
This available locally at Red Hand Stitch Shop, not on our show.
Can we have a discussion about vintage sewing machines?
Could we?
Could we? We can
They are
have
great.
a huge discussion about vintage sewing machines. We will definitely put that on our list of things to talk about, and because that's a show. And we will probably be able to talk to the sewing doc, who's an expert in that. And I'm going to get a yes from her right now. Yes,
Yes, she's nodding.
she's nodding. We've got her. She'll come on the
Fuck yeah.
show.
We gotta fit a 3rd chair in the basement.
Yeah, really.
Okay. Echo says, what is your best rage quit story on a quilt you did or worked on?
Rage quit?
I got one.
Okay, because I'm okay.
I took a class about, do you know what confetti quilts are?
Yes.
Like in landscape. So you have
Yeah.
like these super tiny pieces
Yep.
that you've like chopped up, and you get a piece of background fabric. And I was trying to make a landscape. And so I had cut out strips of batiks to be the trees. I had all these other pieces, and you kind of sprinkle these confetti bits of fabric like on the background. And you use like a bone ash, which is a sprinkle-on, ironable, fusible material. You sprinkle that on, you put your confetti pieces on. There's like some fusible web in there too, just to try and like get all that stuff to stick. And then you lay your trees on, and then you put tulle over it. And I've seen beautiful quilts done like this. That's why I wanted to take the technique. And I had gotten everything fused and set and ready, and I'm taking it to my machine, and I try to quilt it, and every inch the thread was breaking.
Was it because there was so much glue?
We're never going to know.
I
Threw it
tried away.
4 different threads. I tried a skinny needle, a thick needle, a regular needle, like all of it. And the thread kept breaking. And my only guess is so many layers, so much glue. Like, it was just impossible. And I was like, and we're done. Like, love the idea. can't do it.
I don't think I have a rage story. Like, I don't have a quilt that...
You have to just let it languish, mostly.
I just ignore it. Then, yeah. If a quilt's bugging me, I ignore it, and then it needs to get better. Judging good material for quilting that isn't quilting cotton would be helpful. I don't know, Helen, that I understand the question.
Well, I think it's how do you decide if fabric is appropriate to use in a quilt if it's not quilting cotton? That's
can
how I
be
interpret
anything.
it. Put some old double nets in there, like Grandma Eddie
Honestly, it
used
could
to.
be anything.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's...
Silk.
Silks are in quilts.
As long as it's in good condition. If it's a vintage or antique fabric, you need to be careful that it's going to play well with any modern fabric you're pairing it with.
Right.
It's going to hold up to that.
I mean, and if you look historically, example, crazy quilts have, velvets and silks, and I've seen quilts with corduroy in them. So kind of crazy.
I got one of those.
Wool and
Now, do you need to do anything different if you're putting like a chiffon with a denim?
Well, yeah, you probably need to stabilize the chiffon.
Yeah.
With some interwoven stabilizer.
And you probably want to put a print under that anyway because you don't want to see your batting through it. So.
Well, maybe you could be going for that look.
It's a look.
It's a look.
It's a design choice.
Design choice. All right.
Okay. Jeanette asks, oh, this one.
What?
Belongs in the never have I ever.
Oh, did we put it in the wrong?
Never have I ever wrangled a quilt top through my domestic while topless because it was summer in the South.
I have never.
I have never with a quilt. I have.
You've sewn topless?
When I made more clothing, because you sew something, you have to try it on. It's just going to mess up your hair if you got to keep taking your shirt on and off.
Look, cracks me up.
My wedding dress.
Okay.
There was a lot of trying on.
I'm like,
and a lot of watching of movies with a curtain up so my husband couldn't walk by, my, at the time, fiance, because we bought a house together. We were living together. But I was like, don't come in. I'm sewing my wedding dress. And sit there in my underpants making my wedding dress.
That's a visual. There you go.
It's also blood in the seam allowance. I've hurt myself so many times. It's like a bajillion hand done rosettes of ivory satin. Oh, goodness. Memories.
Okay, what batting do you use and why?
I prefer for everyday quilts that will be in a fort or in use in a bed or a throw an 80-20 blend, because I find it gives me nice enough loft to show off the quilting, but enough cotton content that it will pucker nicely and give a good quilted look.
I would agree with you, but if I'm doing an art quilt, I always do cotton on the bottom and then wool on the top, and I double bat.
If I'm doing a show quilt, I tend to do those in
double
wool. That way they don't hold creases and they show better.
Yep. I like wool or cotton and wool together. Cotton for everyday quilts.
Okay.
We have a lot of questions.
We do. Rhonda asks, have you ever made a miniature quilt? And if we have, do we have tips? And by miniature, I mean a scaled down version of a large quilt, like something that would work in a dollhouse.
No, not really. I mean, I made a doll quilt for my niece, but it's not technically by definition a miniature quilt.
Yeah.
I haven't made one.
I have not.
I took a class from George Skiliani's. I'm going to say his name wrong. George. He makes all these really teeny tiny, like 1/8 inch type of. It's crazy.
I would think paper piecing is the way to go with those.
Oh yeah, it's not paper, it's foundation.
Okay.
You don't take it out, but yeah, kind of thing. Y seams, needle turn applique, partial seams. If you don't do them, why not?
Y seams, I say why not?
Needle turn applique. Needle turn applique.
Y seams, all it is just stopping before you get to the edge of the fabric. You stop a 1/4 inch away from the edge.
Yeah, Y seams
scary.
really aren't hard.
Same as partial seams.
Needle turn applique. Do you do it?
I do now.
I do now. Partial seams. Yeah.
Yep. Nothing scary. You just stop sewing before you get to the end.
Yep. Those are, yeah, I do all of those things.
Yeah.
So.
Kathy asks, how do you get out of a funk when not inspired to sew? I just don't sew. Until it passes.
Okay. like I probably read or watch movies. Like I'm a reader and movie watcher.
Yeah.
So, and normally if I'm not sewing, it's because I'm stuck design wise. So I need to walk away anyway.
Would you start a different project then?
Oh God, yes, please. I start different projects all the time. Like I don't even know how many projects I got going.
Lots.
Lots. It's crazy.
Okay. Lacey asks, do you do machine embroidery and how would you add it to your quilts?
Yes, I do machine embroidery, and one of the first quilts I did, I pieced. I did machine embroidery leaves on it. And the reason I did it because some of the seams looked jacked up, so I embroidered a leaf on top.
I would just
So you
applique
couldn't
on
tell.
top because I don't have an embroidery machine.
Well, it was machine applique.
Okay.
So but it was a machine embroidery applique.
Cool.
So yeah, I totally did it. And it's in my bed. It's on my bedroom. It's my fall quilt. I rip my fabric and I feel it's not a straight line. What is the trick?
Better fabric? I think that's what we talked about before. We
Yeah.
cut the snip and then do the
Ripping? Normally it is a straight line. It's the print that could be.
Well, yes, it's not necessarily printed on grain, and that's particularly obvious if you get a panel.
Right.
If you're like, I'm gonna cut like the way the panel's printed, and you're like, I'm gonna cut so it's half an inch or an inch away from the printed edge of the panel because you're gonna frame it up with other stuff and add borders, and then you look at the selvage and you're like,
That didn't.
it's suddenly now a
Yeah.
parallelogram instead of a rectangle.
So normally when you rip fabric, normally it does rip on grain.
It does, yeah, but sometimes the grain is shifted. So in that you can soak it, get it wet, and then you can block it. So on a design wall, so I have like a big insulation board that I can use for that. Pin one corner, get a level, like a bullet level or, a laser level if you're fancy and, fancy.
Go raid your husband's toolbox.
It's my toolbox. So
Okay.
just saying, 8th grade excellence award in shop class.
That's right.
You're welcome.
I know.
So I pin
She's
one
building
corner,
stuff for us.
and then kind of put the level on it to make sure that's straight, and then just kind of like tug and get everything else like smoothed out and aligned and let it dry like that. You got to have space to do it though, so
It's a lot of work.
don't just slap it in the dryer because it's just going to come out wonky and then even more frayed.
Yeah. Yep. That's how you do it.
Okay.
Okay. Almost last question. This looks like a big one though.
Kathy, again, hey Kathy, says, what's your favorite tool or method for squaring up a half square triangle or whatever unit of a full block? And do you square up at each step or after the entire block is assembled?
I square each step.
Bless your heart, I don't.
Yeah.
Think I
Totally
time for
do.
that.
If you want precision, you're going to square up most steps to get there.
Babies don't care.
Okay. Show judges do.
Can't see it on the inside of the fort.
I square up, and it depends on the size, but the best tool to square up a square is to use
Another
one
square.
of those big square rulers that you are squaring up against the ruler. You never square up to the mat. And I'm big on that. So, and I saw a big controversy the other day online. They're like, why are people measuring against the ruler or against the mat? Because they don't know that you should measure against the ruler. So, anyway.
Here's a fun story about mats. So I have 2 skylights in my sewing room. I have it's the Ulfa brand like big 3-piece mats because I have a 4 foot by 8 foot cutting table in my sewing room. I'm very lucky that I have the space for that. And I also have a daylight light that has a magnifying glass attached. And production knows where I'm going with this because I sent her a picture. I walked into my sewing room and I smelled something burning. And what I noticed was like, oh, look at science in action. The magnifying glass was taking light from the skylight, focusing it to a pinpoint on my mat and burning part of my mat. And now I have this little like scorch mark. It's on like the far upper corner, not the part where I cut now, but I'm like, well, so
There
now
it
the
is.
mat is warped. So you can't do that. And that's why you don't cut to the mat because you never know if sunlight's hitting it or whatever. Your mat may not be printing straight.
Okay, this is another squaring block technique. Squaring blocks. I'm not so good at it, and it torments me. Got tricks.
Pay attention to the 3 parts: the cutting, the sewing, and the pressing, because any 3 of those steps could be messing you up on a seam allowance, on like, oh, I ended up with a 12 and 3/8 inch instead of a 12 and a half inch.
Right.
Then you need a little bit bigger seam allowance. You need to press your seams better so there's not just a little bit of a fold still there on the seams. You need to make sure that they're, stretched out completely.
I would say one of the tricks to squaring up a block is get one of those square rulers, and you are going to, if your block is supposed to be 9.5 inches, you are going to lay the ruler on top of it. It's going to be bigger than 9.5 inches. Lay the ruler on top of it and square up the top corner so that top corner is straight. Then turn that and square up the other 2 sides so that you are squaring up a full corner and then flipping it and squaring up a full corner. So I think there's a video that we have that I did that too on half square triangles. So
Cool.
All right. Well, thanks for all the questions.
Yepers. So if you could ask us anything, what would it be? You can let us know. Leave a comment on the blog, the YouTube episode, or in our Facebook group, What's Up Stitches. We may answer it on an upcoming episode. New segment idea. And that's all we have for this episode. Today's show is made possible by the Stitch TV Show shop. You can check out our patterns and merchandise at shop.thestitchtvshow.com.
We'd like to thank 77 Peaches and Big Think Productions for helping produce The Stitch. If you've enjoyed the show, please like, share, and subscribe.
Our next virtual stitch-in is Friday, September 14th at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern, broadcast live on our YouTube channel. Our next book club episode is August 24th. My podcast, Hip to Be a Square, is out on Fridays or Saturdays sometimes on iTunes or Google Play.
All those details and more can be found on our website, thestitchtvshow.com, along with links to purchase the Stitch TV Show merchandise. Tune in next time for more Quilting Chat with Friends.